So it's me, Michael from Good to Hear, with another video, this is the fourth, showing how to track your mood data, where you're recording how happy you are every day, against your exercise data. So today I'm going to do Myzone and Runkeeper data, which shows you how to bring two different data sets into one spreadsheet. We're going to be using Google Sheets and we're going to be using my app, Changes, as a data source. So here's a little animation showing how to get the data out of Changes, which I won't pretend to do right now. And we will start with our data that we exported from the Changes spreadsheet, which looks something like that. Apologies for my green screen jank. These glasses have like a green tint to them for some reason in the treatment, so it does give you a bit of a weird thing. Oh dear. Right, so we start with sheets.new. Import, upload, grab our Changes file, pull it in, and replace the current spreadsheet. Give that a second to get its head together, and then we will tidy this up a bit. So this is going to be happiness versus exercise. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to bring up my draft blog post. The theory I want to test today is the idea that on days when we've done some exercise, we feel happier, which seems pretty reasonable, but let's see if we can find that out using data. I'm just going to insert a chart so that I can see what date range I'm going to use. So we put date. So the thing here is I had a big gap in my data. So this is 10 years ago. So I think if we just delete everything up to let's go from May 2019. Okay, so that looks a bit more like a happiness trend. Let's delete that. Next, let's have a look at Runkeeper. So Runkeeper has this screen, settings, export data, where you can download your data, which takes a little while to do it. So I've done it already. And what you get with that is a folder full of different files, but the one we want is cardioactivities.csv. Now, we're going to go File, Import, Upload, and grab cardioactivities. And you'll see from the notes here that we need to watch out for some duration formatting in here. So I'm going to say don't automatically convert text to numbers. I'm going to say insert new sheet. Okay, so this is our happiness. This is our Runkeeper. So with this, let's just quickly set the things that we do know are numbers. That's just a number. We've got the date, should be recognized as a date. Format, number, date, time. So that's all good. And let's just delete all the empty stuff under here. That's our basic Runkeeper data. And then Myzone, took me a little while to find this. So we've got in your user screen, you can go to this icon, which is your stats, workout stats. Then you can click on this calendar icon here. And then you click date range. And then we go back to August 2019. We click here and then we click for, the date that we're doing it until. And then you've got to give it a sec and then it does this. And then you can click download CSV, or you could just fiddle with the numbers in here. But that's gonna pull down a file, and then this file, this is Myzone activity. But if we look at this file, it's got stuff that we want. These are the workout summaries, but then in between them, it's got minute by minute values, heart rate values, which is going to be a little bit difficult to work with. So what I would usually do is just write a script to fix this, because I love you and I want to help you and I want you to be able to try this. I'm going to save you the trouble by giving you a nice URL, goodtohear.co.uk/tools/Myzone, into which you can upload this file and click convert. and try not to get caught by that pop-up. I will maybe fix that. And now we have MyZone cleaned. And if we just drag that into our project, let's just rename that to MyZone. And you can see this is now just the workout rows. And then all we have to do is file, import, upload, drag that one in, and we're going to go insert new sheet and just take that data. So the next thing we will need to do is combine our two data sets. But before we do that, let's just have a little break. I've got these sitting around from my weekly updates. I thought I might as well throw one in. That was Notting Hill under lockdown with a little bit of music. Right, let's go workouts. So what we want to do, let's bring in our Runkeeper data. And the way to do that is just to select the columns where there is data. We're probably never going to need most of this, but if we just copy that, come into workouts, edit, paste special, paste values only, and hopefully this is all good. The date format has gone back to being date and time. Hopefully the rest of it's looking okay. Let's pull this down to make the header, and let's not delete these empty rows yet, because we're going to go into MyZone. We are going to grab our data columns here, and then rather than paste this up at the top, we're going to find the bottom right corner. So if we just jump down to the bottom, come along a bit to the first empty column, we can be in line. We can go edit, paste special, paste values only. I don't know if we even need to do paste values only for this, but because we've got no formulas. But now if we just cut that and stick that in the header, now we've got two sets of data in one spreadsheet, and we can get rid of everything underneath that. And we might do, maybe we shouldn't have done paste values only, because these have all turned into funny looking formats. So that's a time, the date is here, format, number, date. So what's the next thing we need to do? So we've got our MyZone data, Runkeeper data up there, and our MyZone data down here. Bring the column headers up to the top. We're going to insert 4 columns, which are going to be our sort of like consolidated data. So if we insert 4 columns here, they're going to be date, source, calories, come on Michael, calories, duration. Actually, source is going to be the first thing we care about, so let's just go Runkeeper. Let's jump down to the bottom of the Runkeeper data. I'm just pressing Option and just fill that down, Command D or Control D. Jump down to here, put MyZone in here, fill that down to the bottom. I think that's right. Yeah. And like to make this easier to work with, let's just freeze this left column so we can always see what we're looking at. Now, we want to populate the date values. So we're just going to use a formula for that. So we'll go equals date and pull that down to the bottom of the Runkeeper data and fill that down. And then for MyZone, it's actually got 2 separate columns. So the reason we have to consolidate this is because they're slightly different formats across the 2 different spreadsheets. So MyZone gives you date in its own column, and then a start time and an end time. So we just need to go date plus at start time, and that will give us the date. So if we fill that down, that is date. Easy. Next, calories is quite easy too. So calories burnt, they both give it to us. Just go equals that. Jump down to the bottom of this data, jump back up to the top, fill that down. Then MyZone has a column for calories. We're just looking up here. Calories is here. I mean, we could just copy paste this if we wanted, but you know, equals calories. 712, quite proud of that. And then finally duration. But we'll do the easy duration first, which is here. So this is in minutes, I think. Oh, wait. Why are these? Oh, that's MEP, sorry. Duration here. Minutes is here. So we'll jump up to the top of the Myzone data. So we're going to do time equals time. So we've got an hour, minute, second here. So hour is going to be 0. Duration 0. And just format that as a number, duration. And that's 1 hour, 60 minutes. If we fill that down, we can see 67 comes through as 1 hour. 15 minutes comes through as 15. So that's cool. Runkeeper has a slightly more difficult duration format. Trouble is, by default, Google Sheets is going to recognize this as being 25 hours and 5 minutes when it's actually 25 minutes and 5 seconds because they only put 3 columns in if it's over an hour. So that becomes a slightly awkward thing to deal with. But luckily I've got it. So we're going to go time again. And I'll go from front to back. So seconds is always going to be the last 2 columns here. So we can just use this formula. Right. Let's just copy this in. No. Okay, so there's 25 minutes. So yeah, it just counts in. Let's bring this duration up so we're not confused. So it counts in by 5. So then that also works here. It counts in by 5 and then takes the first 2. And then finally, we're going to use a regular expression, which it looks for 2 colons. It looks for strings separated by 2 colons. It wants the first thing in there, and then we use if error to make it 0 if there's nothing there. So you can just copy paste that out, but if we fill that down, you're going to see that this is correct. 126.37. Even though that wasn't particularly straightforward, we did it. Let's have another break. Now, we've got some data. We're going to come back into our happiness spreadsheet. We're going to create a little bit of space for ourselves. So if we just create 4 to the left, hide that again. We now want, and in fact one more. So now we want, for each of these mood ratings, we're going to find out when the most recent workout was, if that makes sense. So we're going to say, okay, I was unhappy at 11 o'clock on the 7th of May. When did I last work out? So how do we find that out? Well, we're going to need to use this query function. So we're going to build a query for this query function. I'll start off by just writing this query for you. Sorry, these reflections are terrible. I had prepared this earlier, and I'll just explain to you what this is. So what we're looking at here is select 4 columns from some data where the date, which is going to be the first column. So we've got 4 columns, A, B, C, D. We want to find the column, the first row where the date is before this date. So this date has been turned into a number here. And then when we pull that down, we're going to see a different query for each one because it's going to be a different date. And it's going to take the first one. So for that to work, we need this to be sorted Z to A. So then it's going to look down this list, and the first time it sees a row which is before the date, that the current date for that row, then it's going to just return these cells because we've said we want 4. So I'm just going to fill down that query, and then we want workout date, we want source calories duration. So now all we've got to do is query. So we start by giving it a data set, just the content. And for this to work, we want to lock those row numbers by putting dollar signs in there. The next thing we need to do is say the query. So the query is this thing we've made here, and then the last thing is going to be -1 because we don't want it to bring in any column headers, and this won't work until we now format this date as a number. Simple, isn't it? Right, so now we've got this. Let's put this as a date time again. Oh, yeah, they're all coming back as the same. I think we started from August and this is starting from May, so let's just delete everything before there, and then we should get some slightly better. So here we go. So on the 2nd of August at 12:30, the most recent workout was today at 6:54. 2nd of August, same one. 3rd of August, most recent one was still that same one. And then the 5th of August we worked out again, that must have been the weekend, and you can see that's coming through. So now we can see our most recent workout date, and because we've selected 4 columns, it's bringing in the source, the calories, and the duration. And I've put all the notes about all the gotchas in here. So this will be on the website. Right, something else we've got to do housekeeping wise is I want to do 3 different columns for each mood score. So currently it gives you 1 or 2 for the mood and -1, 0, -2. So we're just going to go unhappy, neutral, or happy, so that we can go, and we're just going to go, if the score is less than 0, that's going to be unhappy, so we're going to take the value. Otherwise we're going to just leave it blank, fill that down. Then we're going to go, if the score is 0, then that's going to be 0, otherwise it's going to be blank. And then if the score is more than 0, then we want that score, otherwise we want it blank. Fill that down. So now we've got some columns with our rows broken out in the way we want. So because this is doing some calculations and we're going to want to sort it and muck about with it, we're just going to do some more paste values. So we're going to, with the stuff we want. So this is going to be chart source. So then what we want here is we want the date, workout date. I guess we'll take calories, duration, all that. We'll take score and these ones that we made. And that should be it. And then just copy those and then edit, paste special, paste values only. We're going to have to do a bit more rigmarole around the formatting. I should have done those both at the same time. Date time, make sure duration is the duration. And then these are all numbers. And now we've got a spreadsheet that we can sort of muck about with a bit more. Let's add in time since last workout, because we're homing in. And so you can probably see how we're going to calculate that. We're just going to go equals date minus last workout date. And yeah, this happened again. Let's just delete all these empty rows to make it easier to jump around. Time since last workout, fill that down. And that is in days, I think. So if it's on the same day, then we're going to get some fraction of a day. I think if we format this number as duration, it might give us 5 hours, 10 hours, 30 hours, etc. 63 hours. So we sort of want to we want to sort this in ascending order. So now we've got all of our how recently we worked out how happy we were. So there's me being unhappy 20 minutes after a workout. There's me being happy during a workout, which is fun. There's me being neutral during a workout. You can see during, time since the start basically, and then that's the duration. So what we can do, we can take these, we can insert a chart. We'll do a little bar chart and we'll plot that against time since last workout. We will aggregate, and then let's just make the colors right. So unhappy, we want that to be red. Neutral, we want that to be sort of grey. Happy, we want that to be green. And then we can fiddle with the formatting to make that aggregate function. So if we just want like the number of hours, we can do that. And now we've got something a bit more useful. And I think looking at that, well, here's the thing though. I'm not sure this is the right chart because there are fewer. I think we need to count because we're missing the things. And I think we want to do it as a percentage of all the data we've got. And also I want it to be horizontal. So I don't know if this necessarily tells us what we need to know yet, but we're kind of homing in on something. So 0 hours. So there's, I think, it seems like there's more of a percentage of green closer, but I think it's a little bit inconclusive. But I think a better way of representing this data, and something that might give us a slightly more conclusive answer, and there are ways we can sort of like consolidate those columns and things, but the thing I found I wanted to do was, did I work out today? Is what I want to know. So it's quite easy to work out if these two landed on the same day, because one is a day in these numbers. So if we just go, if floor of the day is equal to floor of the workout date, then that means we're on the same day. And then I guess we just want to also say we want to know if this day is actually after. So if it's before I've worked out today, then that shouldn't count as working out today. So we're going to go and floor, we're going to say they're on the same day, and I guess B2 is less than A2. And fill that down. And just sort of have a look and see. Well, yeah, so you can see that they're mostly true at the top because we've sorted it by time since last workout. But let's find out. Did I work out today with an x-axis of aggregated? So here it is. Let's just edit that chart one more time, get rid of this. I want these all to be count, and I want to make sure these colors are right. Unhappy is red. Neutral, it's like blue. And happy. And this proves, without a shadow of a doubt, I don't know about you, but I do not have a single shadow of a doubt that I am 64% versus 57%. So if I've worked out today, it looks like I'm going to be slightly happier. Don't you think? I mean, there's not much in it, but I think it's pretty good. If you want to follow along, there's a blog post linked in the description. I'll also link to like a version of this spreadsheet. And if you want to know more about happiness tracking, I made a free book, which has probably been popping up throughout this video, called Tracking Happiness, which just explains how to get started mood tracking. And I hope that you will get my app changes and sort of get going with that as soon as possible, because I think this stuff's really interesting and I think everyone should do it because it's a great way of sort of data-driven self-awareness and no sort of like fluffy well-being stuff. This is tracking it. I can see it works. Therefore, my belief is assured. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.